right, Ursula, you're good? Okay. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining. If you guys want to move closer, this is just a conversation amongst yourselves. It's not a presentation, so if you're hard of hearing, you're more than welcome to watch the YouTube video afterward. We'll call this special meeting to order formally at 4 p.m. Today is March 11th, 2025. Item number 2, motion to approve or amend the meeting agenda. We do need to make 2 changes. If we could delete item 4, there will be no executive session. The personnel matter will be discussed in open session per the request of the personnel in question. And immediately following this, between 2 and 3, we're going to have Jen Dubray, our town assessor, come up and explain the motor vehicle formula evaluation. So with those 2 changes, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Brian, with the open session, I saw there was some correspondence going back and forth between Randy DeBella and her attorney. And there were some questions that weren't asked, or they were asked by Jeff Merrimer, her attorney, and weren't answered by Randy DeBella. So I'm wondering if we should table this until that's presented to the board.
It was answered this afternoon. So I'll talk about that during the open session.
Okay. That doesn't give us much time that haven't seen it though to make a ruling on something like this.
That we're having the discussion. It says possible action on personnel matter.
Okay.
We're good. Second.
You can second it, I guess.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, Jen. You come up. You can come up. Just grab a chair right there. Yeah.
So starting with the 24 grand list, the state of Connecticut passed House Bill 7067, changing the way we assess motor vehicles. We now take MSRP and then we use a depreciation schedule, which started originally at 85%. So that's how I filed the grand list. I'm only here today to tell you there's an option for towns changing the depreciation schedule to start at 90% instead of 85%. That would mean refiling. It would mean different things. So I did the totals. Your grand list went down because of this new depreciation schedule. Everybody had a reduction in the motor vehicle assessments. So the grand list went down about 2% roughly. And this bringing it back up would bring it back up so it would be down maybe 1%. Not a lot. That's 1/10 of a mil is what I'm coming up with. I thought that the campers, because I assess them the same way as a motor vehicle, you have to assess the unregistered and camp trailers that way. I thought that would be a bigger boost, but it's not. And if I do the campers, if I do the motor vehicle, I have to do the campers. If I do the campers, I have to send them new notices. It reopens BAA. It means printing a new grand list. It's not a big, it brings $6,000 to the table, the tax dollars, revenue to the town. So that part of it isn't great. The other brings a little more revenue to the town, but in talking to other assessors, I don't think many, in Litchfield County, they're kind of half and half. I think some of our area towns are doing it. I'm not sure they voted on it yet. I'm not sure when they really look into it, if they're gonna, the assessors are gonna be recommending it. A couple are, a couple aren't. I'm just giving you the facts and totally your decision, but I think what the state is trying to do is eliminate motor vehicles. So now they've reduced the assessment, which is gonna fall to real estate, basically, to make up the difference. So if I go back up a little and next year they take something else away, you're gradually gonna be moving away from motor vehicle assessments, I believe. So this is just a little step. If you leave it alone now, it's it's absorbed more this year, and then next year won't, probably be as bad. Because this year you also lost the personal trailers, the snowmobiles and whatever. So they're not taxed anymore. This doesn't affect that. So you were already going down. This is just.
How did they decipher what trailers are and aren't taxed?
I
Is
did
it
it
weight?
with, yeah, I went by weight. I went by if you had a business that I knew of, you weren't, I would assume you had it. So small trailers that are in personal names, I did exempt. When people get bills, if they want to come in and they can go to BAA in September and say I was wrong. We'll see if likewise I find that they are used for commercial use, I'll add them back on next year.
So right now our difference is about 6,000. If we,
No, right now that was the personal
Yeah,
property.
yeah.
For the campers will only
Yeah.
generate about 6,000. The other would generate more because your mill rate is higher. 90, what did I get?
91.
91,000, maybe, I give a list.
Yeah. And the real estate actually went up 1.3 million. Is that what you have? Or I think that's what you have.
Was the real estate total?
It's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, but the overall grand list went down.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So
it's 91,005. I don't think that's something we can avoid. I think we should be taking that, getting that money.
Okay, it means, it's gonna cost 1,200 probably, if not more, to do the new grand list and to process it with the company. So there'll be a cost from the
Okay.
vendor for this. It'll mean, processing increased notices. They go out to all the people with unregistered or camp trailers. And BAA will have to open back up to
Okay.
hear it.
How do you guys feel about it?
It's a net gain. I mean, it's more work for the assessor, unfortunately, but the same, no, it doesn't put all the burden just on property owners,
It's still
household
going
owners.
down. Motor vehicles are still going down doing this, but not as much.
Not as much, right? Jesse?
I mean, we didn't use our full budget last year. We had like around 700,000 that we didn't touch, so I don't know if it could be absorbed. And like Jen said, it may be better to absorb it now than later.
Mhm.
I feel we should absorb it now.
Yeah.
It's, totally not my call, but just,
No, you're laying out
Yeah.
this is what we're
I
dealt
mean,
with.
there's other bills on the table and like the next thing is exempting farm trailers,
Yeah.
farm plates and little steps to wean away from this tax. It's gonna shift to the real estate is what it is.
All right. If we all concur, I don't think we need to vote on it. We'll just give you the okay to do it.
I think technically
vote on
you
it?
do need a vote. And then I have to tell the Office of Policy and Management within so many days of your vote.
How do you want the motion to read? Just authorize the assessor to,
The town of North Canaan elects to apply the modified schedule of depreciation effective 10/1/24. Choose the move.
all right, is there a motion to have the assessor?
Well, were you against?
Well,
I'm
I was just
confused.
saying we didn't use our full budget. We have around 750,000 that we didn't use, so maybe we should absorb it now versus later.
I mean, take the difference out of it?
Take the difference out of it now versus doing it later. That's just me looking at it saying we have room to close the gap a little bit right now, and maybe we won't down the road, and it's gonna be a harder hit for everybody then. But I mean, that's up to you guys. I mean, that's just how I think.
Knowing what I know about the school looks like, I think every dollar's gonna matter.
The only reason that as long as we keep the motor vehicle tax, the better is, I know that landlords pay taxes, so if you're paying rent, you're paying taxes, but the people that just rent,
Yeah,
yeah, and they have cars, end up paying no tax except for the tax that their landlord's paying in property
Mhm.
tax.
I've been back and forth. I mean, if you asked me yesterday, I would have been go for it, but it's not. When I ran the numbers again today, it's just not realizing as much in your mill rate. But like she said, every penny counts, and I get that.
Well, $90,000 is $90,000.
And that's a rough. I mean, that's me doing an extract that I sorted and, I increased the depreciation, and that is in the ballpark,
Mhm.
85, 90, I'm not sure.
So which way do you lean with that?
I'm gonna leave it up to you. Like I said, I've been going back and forth with other assessors too. I don't know.
That's the
I think-
trend being,
I think, the other towns in Region 1, of which I'm 2. Kind of back and forth. I'm gonna leave it up to those 2 towns that I work in. I think the other 3 towns are going for it, but I'm not sure after now she sees the. I don't think they realize as much gain because their mill rates are lower. And they don't have the personal property, so they don't have that whole extra step that I'm gonna have to go through, so it costs them as much.
the
but-
personal property is in the trailers, like at Lonox, so
Mhm.
that,
Mhm. Mhm. So that point I was trying to make, I guess, is they're gonna do it. If they do it, then to keep uniform assessments within the region, I would like to be on the same page as all of them. That was my thinking before too. If Salisbury goes for it, we don't. The car moves from Salisbury to here, well, it's different. We're not uniform.
I think it more evenly spreads out. Especially with the Lone Oaks factor being, even though it's only $6,000, but it's them paying the same percentage.
We have to do it that way, yeah.
Right, right. But again, the people that rent might have zero tax liability to the entire town except for their motor vehicles. So the longer we keep that
Yeah,
at that percentage, the better in my opinion, but
you're gaining about 11% in the cars.
We're one of the towns that need the motor vehicle.
Mm.
Otherwise, we need something else.
right.
Mhm.
Who knows, Honey Hill thing happens and you get a few $150,000 cars up there that they decide to register here because it's cheaper in New York City, then
Mhm.
you might gain that as well. So
Mhm.
You wanna make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we modify the percentage to what the state allows to 90%.
Yeah, that's basically it, modified schedule of depreciation. Mhm.
To 90 or 95?
90, it would start at 90%.
Instead of, yeah.
And go down to, and the other changes, I'm sorry, you have a motion on the
Okay,
table.
I'll second it.
Now we
Okay,
have discussion.
Hold on, yeah,
so the things that bottomed out at 20%, 15% are now up at 20%. So that was a lot of, a minimum of assessment is 500 still. Probably can't go below that.
any other discussion?
No, I'm just, it goes by MSRP
MSRP.
and then the
And then
yearly,
year one, it starts now, it would start at 90% if you adopt this. Year 2, it's 85, and then it goes down.
regardless of mileage,
20%.
anything, it's,
Yep, no, they can't go to BAA. for
Right, right.
Anything other than the MSRP now.
Okay.
It takes that appeal away. It's no longer condition or mileage or anything.
okay,
It's MSRP. So if I've got that wrong, they have to prove that to the BAA.
which makes it easier for the Board of Appeals, so they wouldn't have to deal with people.
Yeah, and the same for the campers. When I send them out a new notice, still the only thing they can appeal is the MSRP I came up with on the camper. And you voting on changing the depreciation schedule doesn't give them any appeal. They have to go through the
And what about with used stuff that comes in?
I'm sorry,
What about with used stuff that comes in that's not MS?
used is MSRP.
So it'll
So
go
I go
back up.
back to the year, that's why I had such a great loss anyway. It was clean retail.
Yep.
So used cars that held their value, now it's MSRP. So I lost.
Yep.
We lost a lot of value doing it that way.
But it makes the whole state uniform pretty much.
It did until now, town by town. we're
Right,
doing
right.
local option now.
But as for value,
We already were uniform. It was clean reach, what, 70%.
Right, all those in favor?
I
Aye. Okay, any opposed? All right, thank you.
Okay. I might need you to put something in our, or
Yep. We'll get
fill
it.
out that form.
We'll get that,
Yeah.
right. Thank you,
Thank
Jen,
you.
perfect. All right, so you've got the latest expenditure analysis in front of you. This was as of 1:44 this afternoon. So if you look at what was budgeted right in the middle, and then you look all the way over year to date, these reports are also sent to us every month. Year to date is what is used, so we're March now, so with the percentage used, we're more than halfway through the year. So, you know, a quick reference is general supplies for the selectmen are at 42% of what was budgeted. So that would say we're doing really well, right? So we've gone through this last year.
think anything under 75% would be
Good.
right about on
Yeah.
course, except for the ones that are seasonal, like snow removal and that kind of stuff, which should be coming to an end and that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
We do have the budget presentation next Wednesday. The school is as well. So today is just seeing the numbers, talking about it, shoot some ideas off of each other. Are we able to meet next Monday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon just to make sure it's what we want to send forward to the Board of Finance?
I'll be in Florida, so you guys can do whatever you.
Can you zoom into it? Indeed.
Do you want me divorced
All
by?
right, let's get
Yeah.
it. Let's get it as close as we can. Let's get it as close as we can tonight. You guys have had the numbers, so. All right, selectmen salaries. Jesse, you still withholding for the following year, provided elections go well, and that goes for us too.
Yes.
All right, so currently the first selectman's 31. And then 66,000 for Greg, 365.
Yeah, he's
65.
65 for sure. Just
Okay.
don't know what yours is off the top of my brain. Yeah, it must be 31.5.
35.
No, 35, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so for admin, secretary salary. Paul was 63.5 in the year. I think he's done an amazing job to include finishing his master's and also becoming one of the few Connecticut certified Connecticut municipal officials through CCM, which is a big bargaining chip for us through CCM. And I would like to see his salary increase by 4%, which would bring it to 66,040. And as we go down each line, you know, we can stop each other, talk about it. If you have other ideas.
Brian, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through the salaries to make sure, because what I do is pull out at least 2 weeks of vacation and put it into vacation and pull it out of their salary line. So the lines might adjust, but you'll see it again if you take it forward.
Mhm.
Just wanted to say that because I'm looking at Paul's and I'm thinking there's holidays and vacation in there, so
Okay.
it's not gonna be used.
Right. General supplies, we're doing really well. Maybe able to bring that down to 1,000. We're only 24% right now. Paul, you feel good about that?
I feel good about that because for the Board of Selectmen, there's not a lot of supplies that you really use.
Yeah.
So,
Legal notices will stay the same.
so we have town meetings coming up and
Yeah.
all those other, so that 42% is going to be expended probably.
Yeah.
All that.
Okay. Probate. We got a letter from probate and they actually proposed to go down this year slightly. Last year.
You know, they're over so far this year.
Mhm. Yeah, so for North Canaan, they're proposing going to 2,763.
Is there a change on it, Paul? Why do I have 64?
Yeah, there's change on it.
That's why I wrote 64. Okay.
2,763 and 35 cents. So 2764. So they're actually going down. And that's due to the change in the grand list.
All right. Election expenses, that's with our registrar. Obviously, last year was interesting to say the least with all the early voting and everything that Rosemary and Patricia had to take on. And I think they did a wonderful job navigating that and having all the election staff and scheduling all those days. They did provide numbers that we can budget for if there is a primary this year and numbers if there isn't a primary. So if there isn't a primary, then there's a savings, but I think it's hard to say, responsibly, we should budget that there would be a primary, and then if we don't, then we see it's a $7,000 savings, Paul. What's that?
With no primary, it's a $7,000 savings about. Because with the primary, they're saying 27,091. With no primary, it's 20,202.
And last year we budgeted 28.5, so you guys thinking to budget for the primary?
Just in case.
We're gonna leave it the same.
It's
27.
2791, yeah.
All right, Board of Finance stays the same, 800. Auditing services. That is going from 41 and King had 54.
Yeah, 47.5 for the audit and 6,500 for if there's a federal audit. And you and I discussed
Yep.
changing the auditing assistant to maybe auditing extra, or you could call it the federal audit, whatever you want to call it, to separate them out to see it, and then put the rest of the audit on the other line.
So part of that is just if we have a federal,
Right, so
audit.
you might not use it. It all depends on if we hit a certain threshold of federal money that they have to do the federal audit.
Yeah, and we do have a savings as of this year.
Yeah, actually, it's not showing in here. That is the 2,500 in auditing assistant and the 2,500 we're over is actually gonna go back to zero. They sent us back 5,000 because they didn't end up doing the audit.
Yes. Okay. All right, assessor's salary benefits.
Yeah, I don't remember talking about whether or not you're gonna do anything different there.
No.
Okay.
Was her line gonna change with benefits?
I was changing the name to salary, assessor salary and benefits, so people understand it's not just
Right.
her wage, it's also the portion of her health insurance that we pay.
and
And we share that with her and
Okay.
like sure.
the clerk salary is
You said
like,
that.
right, which she
Never had.
rarely ever uses, so it pretty
wasn't-
much balances out at the,
She wasn't able to fill it. She would like one. She's been working with Paul to try to post it. No takers.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah.
We have some interest and then they drop off and and it's hard to get them back.
He's doing well on. Lines.
It's actually moved a few things around just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like increase your general supplies by 500, but then reduce your contract services by 500. So it's kind of a wash at the
Yeah.
end of the day, but just switching.
So general supplies up 5.
Yeah, to 1,500.
Yeah.
And then dropping down the contract
Services
services
down
to
5.
3,500.
Okay.
Dropping down legal notices to 150. Just doesn't use as many, she says.
Legal. 150, and then software contract went up, right, slightly,
To 11,350.
11,350 from 10,760.
Yep.
Correct.
All the others were pretty flat.
Any questions? Board assessment review. Stayed at 500. Tax collector. Stays the same.
Just go flat straight across.
Um, I will say, continuously impressed with Jen in the tax collector's office. Her collection rate, from what I know, the last few years at least, has always been 97, 98%.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the highest.
We
We had a
really
role
good.
there for a couple of years and then she got on everybody and they
Yeah.
just, as soon as you threaten to take a couple properties and do that, all of a sudden, we had a couple tax auctions. She's got a great marshal. Right.
Avoided the tax auction. They ended up
Yeah,
paying.
Yeah,
there
two
were
this
supposed to be
spring,
one
yeah.
this spring that's already been, two.
Two, yeah. And she'll
Yeah.
be able to have both of them be avoided by
Yeah.
collecting.
Okay. Town treasurer. That salary is going down to 25 and 27.
Is that because we're not doing ARPA anymore or is that?
Just Emily's tenure is getting shorter and shorter once we get a date. And I think, she has the longevity here. She's probably underpaid at times, but whoever we get to replace her, they're probably not going to have the history that she had. So we'll start at 25.
We also transitioned some stuff to Paul
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah, some of the HR stuff.
And everything else was staying the same.
No, the
Payroll.
overall budget is down for the treasurer's office, but the payroll service
went
is
up.
coming up to make sure that we are covering the fees as well as the financial. So the payroll service fee will be 6,750 and financial software will be 5,500. But the total is actually coming down to 750 for that office.
All right, town council. 25,000. We're over by 5,000 for the year. Union stuff is done. That was settled back in November. We will have some modest changes with the town clerk's ongoing process, and thankfully now where it is, it's in the council team of the insurance company. So, wherever our deductible lands, there's no other costs incurred by the town.
And we had all the Honey Hill
Yeah.
Woods and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I think, getting the feedback we had from the Board of Finance last year, they asked if it was possible to create a legal counsel line for like each board, each committee, each department. it's not that easy just to add, 20 more lines and then break it down. Say, every board has $1,000. But what we're gonna do, and we can talk to the Board of Finance, is keep the legal line the way it is. But as expenses come in, depending on what it's relevant to, we can report each month to the Board of Finance that, all right, we got a $1,500 bill from Kramer and Anderson, but it was for planning and zoning. It wasn't for the Board of Selectmen. So we can categorize where the expenses are going that way.
Which, like, all right, last year we were over by like 87,000. Where did we pull that out of the budget? Did we pull it out of different areas of the budget, or
Mhm.
you know what categories those are?
No, you have to just basically, you try to pull it from within the same like cohort, like, let's say it's A11,
Related to zoning.
but you can't because there's only one. So you see like A13 is town council, there's no other lines under A13 other than town council.
Okay.
So basically, whoever's in this position has to balance out whatever's over by whatever's under. So it doesn't matter, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. If it's all within the, say, the highway department, you can just try to move money around within those lines. But if it's not, because there's no other lines like this particular one, you have to pull it from other lines. It just wherever money is.
So wherever you have positive balances, you
Correct.
pulled it. There was no real rhyme or reason. It was just positive balances.
Correct.
That's the meeting that we have
Yep.
in
Do the-
August or
For
September.
the
to
Board of
the-
Finance too.
Move funds
transfer.
around.
Yeah. they
Yes,
do
no,
the-
I knew that. I just didn't know if it was linked to a specific account. If you,
Only
You
when
know.
I can do that.
yeah, like I,
When there's multiple lines and I can do that, I do that. But if I can't do that, then I have to pull from whatever lines are available.
okay. Oh, I'm just,
So you're saying if planning and zoning had a lot of things in the legal council and then they had a positive, you try to pull as much as you can from planning and zoning?
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
I mean, that was just an example,
Yeah.
but if we had it set up like that,
Wherever
we
it
had a
is,
little
yeah.
bit of, yes, exactly, but zoning, just because I know it a
Yeah.
little bit better, that's all.
Mhm.
To see how that was structured and make it easier for whoever, and kind of the Board of Finance is looking for, but
Yeah.
it's similar,
We can
not
talk to
quite
them.
the same.
Well, like I reminded Brian, the more lines I have, the more, I don't want to say more of a headache it is, but every single line has to be zeroed out if it's not. And I understand their process and what they're looking for, but I think that if it's presented every month, by the end of the year, you can pile those reports and know it went to whatever department.
Yeah.
Maybe after you research it a few years, I'll be long gone, you can start breaking it down and I won't care. But putting them in each one of these, because you might have one that never even gets used.
Yeah.
And then the Board of Selectmen's way over. Well, we split out the money, so, so. Sure.
Right.
Technically, you can do whatever you want right now, not my budget, just my suggestion.
Town clerk salary, stay the same. Their assistant salary, stay the same.
You tell me, go ahead.
Assistant. The assistant salary, yeah. We had that down to 2,500. So we're gonna talk with Marlisa, since Paul is now also an assistant town clerk. He can take some of the days while he's already on the payroll. So if we can reduce that line, there's some savings there. And supplies, state fees,
State fees just brought it up a little bit.
yeah, state fees had to go up to 24,000.
The state fees, just so everybody understands, that's based on what has to be sent into the state, even though we have the revenue side of it, and that's what you'll see it on the revenue side when we get there. I have to try to figure out how much we're gonna use to keep it budgeted, the expense. So every time something comes in that has to be filed, particular things have to be sent to the state. They get a portion, as of course.
Okay, everything else stayed the same. 799, we're on tax referrals liens. Stays the same. Town hall maintenance, at 10,000. We're at 56% spent. I'd like to bring that down to 8,000. We can save 2,000 there. I think that's pretty reasonable.
I think it's reasonable, yeah. We're gonna have like an AC service coming up
Yeah.
and there's, but like overall,
General supplies. General supplies at 4,000. We're at 27 right now, 32%. We are doing a server changeover, and we have to build a containment closet for the server in the building office. So there'll just be some modest hardware expenses that we can put into that. State. Everything else stayed the same. Any questions on that one? Okay. A17, 713 insurance bonds. That went down from 175 to 165, a $10,000 reduction. Payroll taxes stayed the same. Slight reduction in employee health. 272,500 down to 270 even.
Like I said before, a couple of these lines I'm gonna verify. I just got the uh health insurance rate update, so I'm just gonna verify it, but I think I'm good at 270.
Sick personal vacation stays the same at 65,000. Employee pension costs, slight increase of $2,000 from 30 to 32. Computer services is the same. Fire protection, emergency physicals is the same. Fire protection operating stays the same at 130,000. They did ask for an increase in the truck fund, which we'll talk about at the end. Fire marshal. I think Tim's done a great job trying to curtail a lot of his expenses. He did have some modest increases. So for the fire marshal line, salaries all stay the same. Administration stays the same. He did ask for an increase in the education and dues from 1,050 to 1,325. And for equipment from 1,250 up to 1,375. State trooper. Spencer has asked that his general supplies be reinstated. So previously in years past, it was zeroed out due to Jeremy either not needing anything or was purchasing in another way. Historically, we had $1,000, 1,000, 1,500. I'd like to see that line raised to $750 for him for the year. The resident trooper salary, this is going to go down. I was hoping that he was going to get the state sent us the renewal for the next 2 years or the next year as if it was Jeremy. So it didn't coincide with Spencer just coming on. Spencer has far less years of service and he's a rank below. He's not a trooper first class. So there's going to be a reduction on this line. We should have it by the end of this week and then have it ready for the budget next week. Any questions so far? Building inspector. We have, so the clerk salary. Cheryl's done an amazing job, especially when you consider that our real estate grand list went up $1.3 million. Considering that we've had some turnover with the building inspector and her having to teach a new building inspector, working with Mike Carbone, having Paul Betty come up from Thomaston, and having minimal to zero complaints from people in town, and giving her long tenure and her knowledge in that office. I would like to increase her salary from 32,526 a year to 39,000, which essentially equates to her hours worked at a flat rate of $25 an hour. Any questions on that? Her support and maintenance contract did go up slightly from 17,000 to 18,500.
Which we knew
Yeah.
in advance, yeah.
Dog account remains the same. Traffic lights remain the same. Fire hydrants go down slightly from 30,000 to 27,000. E911 service is Litchfield County Dispatch. Thank you to Brian Allen for sending over their new adopted budget. It was a slight increase. They go off of the DPH census population for North Canaan. So it went from $39,800 last year to $41,011. A slight increase for 911 coverage. Town garage numbers stay the same for operating. Roads and bridges repair, we're gonna stay the same at 75,000. Currently we're at 82% right now of that budget. Tree removal. We budget 17,000. Chris is over slightly right now, so there's a hold on any tree pruning or cutting, chipping, anything like that. I know Tom Zetterstrom has money in the beautification account that's going to cover Arbor Day, but we were hoping the state was going to realize that, you know, it's nice to get town aid road money for chip sealing, asphalt, things like that, but at some point they're gonna have to help our towns with tree clearing, with all the ash dying, all the other species that are unfortunately impacted by all these diseases. I mean, we could spend $20,000 on tree clearing in a weekend. You know, it's just astronomical. So I think responsibly, we go from 17,000 up to 20,000 for next year. That basically gets us 2 or 3 full days of cutting and chipping, depending on, you know, what it is being done.
And he sent us some pretty big lists.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're making the process more efficient. So, you know, Tom Zetterstrom does a great job with beautification, but you know, sometimes Tom would just go right to Chris, or Mike would go to Chris, or however, it was a convoluted process. So jobs are being tasked out and then we'd get invoiced for it. But, you know, it's something maybe the town crew could have done, or it's something somebody else could have done. So, you know, right now everything is funneled through Mike, our town manager, and he issues the projects out to Chris. Where are we? Repair and maintenance stays the same, 14,000. Sand and salt, 46,000. We are over. This was a heavy year for salt. Even though we're over, you know, they did use sand a couple times just because we had a salt shortage, which will have to be cleaned up. But we have more than enough salt to last us, you know, the good for a month or two starting next winter. Like, it'll all stay in storage, and I don't foresee having to buy anything depending how November, December goes, until maybe the first of the year.
And we loaded up when we knew that there was a
Yeah.
shortage because like Cranes who sells salt, they couldn't even buy salt anywhere. So we made sure
Yeah.
while we had the opportunity to get salt that we got salt. So
So I'm open to suggestions here, but we ordered more than we needed, so we would have the stock. Knowing that at 46,000, it's about 6 to 9,000 for a full replacement load.
Yeah, right.
Since we're ready to start next year, could we come down to 40,000? To save 6,000, or do you want to keep it at that?
I would keep it at that just in case we're in the same situation next year. But if you want to drop it 6,000, that's fine. But
What do you think?
I think we should mix more like we did this year. I mean, it definitely, it lets the trucks go longer. Will sort of help us on that end too.
You want to keep it at 46?
I think you could drop it if you mixed is what I'm getting at.
Mhm.
So, you could drop it 6 or 7 or maybe even 10, honestly, if you mixed about a third of the cost per load.
well, we have to see what it's going to cost to sweep the roads or blow them off too. So that's going to be figured into that.
It would be, but I mean, we have the sweeper, Mike did just have it refurbished. He told me, but the rooms and all that in the back and all that stuff got reworked.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, it's up to you. I'm just saying, like, I
If you
know,
want to drop it to 40, I'm good. I don't want to drop it much more than
40?
sure,
40,000?
with the intention that we'll mix
Yeah.
more.
Plow blades are good. They still got a full stock. Vehicle equipment repairs. We're at 32. We're at 62%. Knock on wood. Old and strong. Street lights are the same, 8,500. Did I jump the tree removal?
Yes.
You
I'm
did,
sorry.
that's why.
But
I
you
was like,
came back, so
Tree removal,
came back to where.
20,000,
where you
got
were.
it. Highway salaries. We feel like we can keep the same line at 215,000. But per their contract, they will be getting 4% increase
When does that kick?
July 1st.
But you still think you'll be on
Yeah.
that budget line?
Yeah,
so-
those lines, all the salary lines, I'm gonna verify. I like to
Yeah.
create spreadsheets for everybody. I'm gonna verify them before you see this again.
So before we kick this to Board of Finance, we're gonna have at least one more meeting.
Yeah.
and Go over this
Yeah.
stuff, so we can think about it.
And that includes Mike, our foreman, at a 4%.
Increase.
Yeah.
Because he's not in the union, right?
Right. Diesel stays the same. I'm sorry, LoSiP. Emily, you want to explain LoSiP?
So LoSiP is that one that we talked about last year when we did the transfers. LoSiP operates differently now. You have to have it in your budget to use it. Well, I shouldn't say you have. You do because you have to go to the meeting. Anyways, whatever. So as I stated last time, we need to put the amount we expect to expend in our budgets so that we're not doing it in reverse like we did. We're gonna have to do it again, but whatever. So that's why you see 42,940. That's what the state is saying we can have next year. So basically you'll see it on the income line, you'll see it on the expense line.
Now, isn't that one of the, LoSiP is also one of the grants you're going for?
No, LoSiP's automatic.
It's automatic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
You just have
There's a
certain,
bridge, there's a bridge.
It's
and road
certain-
grant that we were looking at, also labeled LoSiP on the.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's certain parameters you can use LoSiP for.
okay. No, it's fine. I got confused with the two. being
Yeah, I don't even
called.
know what you're talking about, so.
Yep, no, there's a grant that Paul was looking in, well, Brian said he was looking into,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's gasoline.
Gasoline, the same. Where are we on that? We're at 78%. It could be tight, but I think that's a good
But
number.
we
to
probably
say.
burned a bunch.
Yeah.
Doing
With
snow
plowing,
plowing and all that.
Recycling stays the same, 19,000. Transfer station operations, miscellaneous. Recommend dropping that from 30 to 20. They still continue to do an amazing job down there and running as lean as they can. Transfer station salaries. The two full-timers with a 4% pay increase. So we'll still stay within that 90,000 from last year. Monitoring well, slightly up from 8,000 to 8,100. Yeah,
For
that-
Fussinelli,
yeah.
Mill. Yeah. Just as-
Hazardous waste is the same. Slight reduction of 110,000 down to 90,000 for tipping fees. Hauling costs, staying at 30,000. And we're still awaiting final numbers from that as Payne sold out to USA.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is there any
No, they've,
honored to,
yeah, everything is the same from
and,
Payne's,
and how long is the contract? As long, till 2027?
till July 1st of this year. And then they're gonna give us new numbers, but this is just for hauling. It's nothing to do with. the
Yes, I
mirror.
know,
Yeah.
I knew that. I just didn't
Yeah.
know if our contract was hauling extended out through the mirror.
Bulky waste. They're killing it with bulky waste. I gotta brag for them. So bulky waste right now, they're 24 and we budgeted 60,000. They're doing really well. I mean, from Brian picking apart every last thing down there, I think we can reasonably come down to 40,000 from 60 for a savings of 20,000.
Just on the question on the tipping fee. You're confident with that just because we're 67? I think 20 might be a little much, but that's just me. Maybe 10,000 reduction instead of 20, but that's just looking at the numbers now, and then if we have a $5 or $6 a ton increase.
Yep.
Just food for thought.
Yeah. You want to come back up, Jess?
Sure. I mean, you're only at 24, you're,
No, not on bulky. I'm tipping fees 2 lines above,
on 90.
because he was,
Oh, gotcha. This is what you're saying.
we're at 67, so but we've spent 73, so that's
Yeah.
only leaving us 17,000 leeway for the rest of the
Yeah.
year. So if we lowered that by 10, I think we'd be safe, but I think 20, it's cutting it really close.
So we'll
I would
take off,
agree with
so we'll
that.
come down to 100,000. Got that?
Mhm.
All right, Torrington Area Health, slight increase from 17,460 to 17,558.
That was just due to population calculation.
SVNA of Salisbury, we're getting into some organizational requests. We're gonna stay at 2,000. Same from the last year, same for many years back. North Canaan Ambulance. Incentive program that's going down from 2,000 to 1,750. And per their request and explanation of needs, I'd like to increase their line by 20,000 from 130 to 150.
You care to elaborate what the needs will be?
So they're,
I'm sure there's plenty. I'm just-
yeah.
He has it.
So with the,
Should.
so this is from Matt Devono, the president. As you prepare the town budget in this fiscal year 2026, we respectfully ask for the consideration of an increase in our annual appropriation. Our team of volunteers strives every day to keep expenses in line as well as our operation running smoothly and doing so with the best trained staff. In 2024, we ended a year with a net loss of 16,472. These funds came from our saved funds that we have collected over the years. As we began this year, we needed to dip into our line of credit for 25,000 to meet the needs of our expenses. Our board is requesting a $20,000 increase in our operating budget line. Our community Relations Committee has sent out our annual appeal and is working on planning our annual fundraiser. We will continue to ask for the public's help so our few but very dedicated members can continue to keep our organization a volunteer-run service. If you need anything further from us, please let me know. So obviously, they are a hybrid of a paid and volunteer, but always volunteer at the heart. And there's unfortunately so much demand. If you look at the ambulance versus the fire department, the call volume is 75% greater. The demand for advanced life care versus basic life support, having the paramedics, contracting with Hartford Healthcare. There's a new service, Northeast Fire Rescue, I believe. There's just the expenses are astronomical. And, I
On
think,
the back of it.
And the
Yeah.
state dictates what they can charge,
Yep.
so they
Right.
can't like charge to cover their expenses. There's a set
and Medicaid,
fee that,
Medicare reimbursements aren't always timely. Sometimes they're waiting 6, 8 months for reimbursements and, this is a conversation. I'd like to put the 20,000 in there and,
No, it's good.
Yeah.
And it's just good to have background, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no or anything.
okay, 20,000 increase. Senior center stays the same. Local relief, that's gonna go down from 5,000 to 2,500. Sharon has done an amazing job collecting some donations for her office. So that supersedes really a lot of the local relief line. It's more of a discretionary at times, so I think we can afford to cut that down. Gearbus is staying the same, 27.5. Social worker, everything's staying the same. Housatonic Youth Service Bureau staying the same at 5,000. Women's Emergency Services, Project Sage, staying the same at 1,500. Litchfield Hills Nutrition, slight increase from 2,308 to 2,587. Susan B. Anthony, 1,500, stays the same. Chore Service has remained the same year after year at 2,000. I know,
Did you say Susan B. Anthony 1,500?
yeah.
yep,
Okay, yep,
You got it.
sorry.
There
No,
you go. Okay.
I jumped a line.
All right.
I'm reading 2,000, I'm sorry.
Chore Service, I'd like to see an increase. I know, they're trying to get the staffing and the volunteers, but they have done a lot of good things in town. There's a couple people they're working with right now that are really down on their luck, and having a talk with Dolores Parati, they did request 10,000. I told her that's almost backbreaking to the budget, but we're thinking $1,500 increase.
it's not gonna break the bank.
Yeah. 1,500,
So to 3,500.
3,500. A lot of organizations request money, and we need to know the history of the organization. What's the return on investment, right? Hypothetically to the town, what are we getting out of it? We know all of these legacy programs that have been in the budget. There's some type of tangible benefit to North Canaan residents, and I think that certainly helps. Discretionary fund is going to stay at 2,500. Douglas Library operating. They requested a slight increase to 100,000 even, up from 97,740.
102, the request was.
Mm-hmm. 23, 24 was 100,000.
Yeah, so that's what,
Our new budget reflects a 4% increase in staff salaries and a conservative increase of 10% in benefits after speaking with Paul. Our bookkeeper's hours increased due to the additional tasks assigned the treasurer.
That's nice.
You assigned him?
Yeah, I guess so. I was doing it all.
So
Are we gonna
102,
meet him? 102?
102. Yeah, because didn't we try to give them an increase last year and they told us no?
The number they requested was 97,740,
Right, and we had put 100,000.
and there was 100,000, so they were actually reduced.
Right, so, yeah,
We can bring them
they've,
to
they've been the same for like
Yeah.
3 years now.
102 for Douglas. North Canada Little League. 1,000 stays the same. Memorial Day stays the same. Pool salaries. Because of the increased opening now, they're trying to open the pool earlier. And with minimum wage going up, the pool salary line has gone up from 27,300 to 31,700. Pool and rec director stays the same at 17,650. Telephone, electric, pest stays the same. Water's gone up $500 to 3,500. Chemicals are the same. Repair and maintenance is up 500 to 6,500. Events and activities is a very, very sharp jump from 800 to 3,300. And that is due to them taking on the ski club program from the school. I guess we haven't heard that budget yet, but apparently that's been eliminated from their budget, and rec is asked to take that on. Porta potties, there's an increase in using them, with certainly with the number of events, 2,000 to 2,600. And yearly projects, $1,500, is the same.
You have a line total on that? Or-
785. 78,500.
Thank you.
Boss Web is the scout building. It's gonna stay the same at 3,000. Railroad Days allocation is gonna stay the same at 10,000. They're not doing drones this year, it's just gonna be the fireworks. Contingency fund staying the same at 5,000. Child care scholarship stays the same at 5,000. Child care operating funds stays the same at 6,400. Beautification committee staying the same at 1,500. Housing authority stayed the same at 5,500. Connecticut Conference of Municipalities stays the same, 2,310. Northwest Hills Council of Governments stays the same, 2,538. Wetlands stays the same at 1,000. Lusitanic River Commission stays the same at 400. Slight decrease with Northwest Rural Transportation from 5894 down to 5344. Zoning officer stays the same, 15,1. Planning and Zoning Commission stays the same at 8. Roarback Building stays the same at 10,000. Town Historian stays the same at 1,500. And the Roarback Building loan with a slight reduction of 10,400 down from 10,008.
And that's the payoff.
Yep.
Yay.
So
And
that's
we're
the last year for that.
Yeah. Okay. Going down to non-recurring funds. I had a long talk with Mike Foley, the fire chief, and he's consistently asked year after year for the truck fund to increase from the 85,000. We did have a talk about the ladder truck and schedule of all the replacements. He has assured us that the $2 million plus price tag on the ladder truck isn't just all going to fall on taxpayer money. There's going to be a large annual campaign, a campaign to raise money from businesses, people, their own endeavors, and some grant money. So between those three categories, hopefully in 7 years, that means a new ladder truck for us. Knowing that, we're going to keep their operating budget at 130, but I would like to add 40,000 to truck fund. So to go up from 85,000 to, he asked for 140. I told him I think that's too drastic for 1 year in a budget. If we can incrementally raise this year after year and plan for it, Is 40,000 doable to you guys?
I don't see much choice, really.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think we need to do something for them.
Yeah, I mean, so right now, if we brought it to 140,000 year after year, there's 980 something thousand in their truck fund right now. He said at 140 consistently over 7 years, it would get us like right at the finish line, but he knows they need to do fundraising, they need to do grants, so even if we can get that truck fund to 1.5 million and the rest is on them, I think that's a responsible ask, so if we can raise this to 125, I think it's a good start. Okay. Town equipment, everything's holding their own over there. I'd like to reduce that line from 37,000 to 30,000. Again, this is the non-recurring funds. Ambulance equipment staying the same at 35,000. Reappraisal costs at the same as 10,000. Town hall capital improvements 5,000. Reserve fund 5,000. Swimming pool 2,500. Those are all staying the same. Douglas Library is the same at 2,500. Roarback building and projects the same at 5,000. Town garage capital improvements 5,000, the same. Road paving and improvement $100,000 stays the same. So I mean, barring a miracle here somewhere, I think we're probably going to see a slight increase this year. From what we know of the school budget, it's low six-figure increase. We'll see what they have to say.
That's the elementary school.
Elementary school, yeah. The
The
high school,
should be going
the
on a
region,
flat budget.
the
It should
region
go
went
down to
up.
100,
Pupil services went up.
Pupil services went up.
but the school part should, on a flat budget, the projections were a drop of about 130,000, so.
Uh,
So maybe those will level out. We'll see. I don't know until the schools are presented.
And again, this doesn't necessarily correlate to a tax increase. We have our general fund, we've got reserves, we can see what the Board of Finance determined, but if we've got the money. There are some investments that Emily has information on that she was able to make over $100,000 on, and the numbers are there. Just got to make it work, but
Yeah.
So Emily will crunch the numbers, we'll get fresh documents and you can email them out to us. All right. Yeah. Was everything captured in there? All the requests?
Yes.
We're good, okay. Okay. Ersley, you got most of it? All right, good. All right, next item on the agenda. Discussion in open session and possible action on a personnel matter. All right. So this was going to go into executive session, per Jean Jackie, our town clerk, per her council team. Her intent is to have this in open discussion. So we all know the history of where we got to today. So there were allegations made last year that were brought to our council for advisement, consideration, determining severity. Were they credible? Were they not? And whose purview was it under? Since she's an elected official, town clerk. It was advised to go to the office of the Attorney General which they did a lengthy review. It was late summer last year where they did send out a letter. They chose not to remove Jean from office. But in three areas, they did find evidence of misconduct and neglect of duty, improper security of the vault outside of the town clerk's hours and operations, improper posting of campaign materials in the town hall, and untimely stamping of documents received by the town clerk's office. So this was made public, and subsequently after that, Jean filed a suit against the town to recoup her legal fees that she had incurred in the process. So at that moment, our traditional legal team, Premier and Anderson, deferred to our insurance carriers legal counsel, who then took this over, looked at all the facts, went through all the motions again, and it was the end of January, and it was February 3rd that we had found out, after the insurance company's counsel team had made a motion to strike, which basically means they wanted to strike the complaint that Jean had made, or her argument that she was due the reimbursement. So the judge granted the motion to strike in the town's favor, saying the defendant town is not required to provide a defense to an employee against whom a claim is made of wanton, willful, and malicious conduct. Vilbur Supra 260 Connecticut at 175. The town's obligation is to reimburse the employee for his or her expenses if he or she is successful. The plaintiff's cause of action would not have accrued against the defendant town until the complaint was concluded, because it was not until then that the plaintiff would have had been able to successfully bring an action for indemnification. So our interpretation of that, and what Judge Walter Menjivar has said, if Jean was being investigated or sued for a decision she made in the full scope of her work as a town clerk, then she may have been entitled to that reimbursement. But because she was being investigated for neglect of duty and misconduct, which was verified to the Attorney General, that still negates her case. So that was February 3rd when we had found out. February 4th, the next day is a Tuesday, Jean was seen hurriedly coming into town hall at about 7:30 and left abruptly. And that was the last time that we have seen her in this town hall. She made zero attempt to communicate with any of us as a Board of Selectmen.
She got me a letter if you want. Wherever you
When
want.
did she send it? Okay, so let me finish.
Yes.
So from February 4th, we have made attempts to communicate with her, to include a well-being check, to again advise her that we're going to be moving forward with appointing an assistant town clerk to fill the vacancy, not to fill the vacancy, but to fill the hours that she's not there. All of these attempts have gone unanswered until yesterday, when we advised her 24 hours in advance that we were going to be meeting today to consider suspending her salary because she has not reported to work to fulfill her duties as an elected official as a town clerk. Now, this isn't the three of us rushing to this decision. This is the insurance company's counsel. It's our town council. They've been in conversation with Jean's counsel, and we have, let me just make sure I'm referencing everything. So because Jean on multiple occasions has said that she is not coming back here, this is what we're basing our decision off of. So I was forwarded by Marlisa an email that Jean had sent to a contractor of the town clerk's office, that where Jean told them to suspend the funds, stop paying this, and because she's not coming back. So that's the first piece of evidence. When I sent the email, genuinely concerned for her well-being, asking to please respond. If you can't come back, You don't need to give me a medical reason. You don't need to give me an excuse. Just confirm that you're not coming back because we have an obligation to keep that office open for a number of reasons. So we send her that email on the 6th, no response. I call her next of kin, Pete Jack here, her husband. He answers the phone and he tells me that, well, Brian, Jean's okay. Thank you for the call, but she said she's not going back. That's her husband. And then we hear from other friends and family throughout the month that she is saying she's not going back, she's not going back. So she hasn't told us this personally, and we can't remove her because she's an elected official. However, because she's not fulfilling her duties right now, we have the right to suspend her salary or consider suspending it. If she wants to come back and, you know, become an active town clerk and fulfill her duties, her salary can be reinstated. But at this moment, last month, we paid her 3,500 and change, her salary, approaching the second month. So a total of over $6,000 of taxpayer funds. We are paying someone who's not fulfilling their duties. This isn't a personal vendetta. This isn't political. It is just basically looking at the facts of that office not being open or readily available. Last week we had a funeral director in here that was almost in tears because he needed a piece of paper signed for the crematorium. There was nobody here, and it caused a lot of stress. So thankfully Marlisa is able to work in some capacity. Paul, with the assistant, being the assistant town clerk, he's filling that void right now. But until we hear otherwise, let me see. So we are able to suspend. We're able to suspend her salary, which her salary is directly associated with the budget. It's not associated with any state fees or anything that the office collects. So we are referencing Stewart versus the town of Watertown, 303 Connecticut 699, 715-716. And if she wants to return to work, then she can advise us at that time. So we're not removing her from office. We can't force her out, but right now she's not reporting to work. So I would make a motion at this point to suspend the town clerk's salary effective immediately and will be reinstated when she chooses to return and fulfills her duties as an elected town clerk.
I'll second it so we can open the discussion.
You want to read this letter in for rather? James?
Okay. So I can't verify that Jean wrote this. And I don't know why you were chosen to be the receiver of this since Jean has been, hold on. Jean has been communicating through her legal team.
Sure.
Okay. So you giving me this, I would say is ill-timed, maybe a little suspicious. So I'll forward this to our attorney and they can choose what to do with it. But this has no bearing as to our decision tonight. It may sway you, because I know last May you chose to just want to settle before we got the AG's results, which clearly shows misconduct and neglect of duty. And you were the candidate that she was openly soliciting for, which was part of the complaint. So you can vote how you want to vote tonight, but on this presentation here and for the people, we're stating facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And under discussion like that, again, it's nothing personal, but now everyone's worried about every dollar in this town. Now we're covering that office as best we can. Fortunately, right now, Paul is doing it at no expense, but Marlisa is 2 days a week, straight through. That line item is already over. But as an elected official, you have a duty to the town. especially one that's paid a full-time salary. It's not like a selectman making $6,500. It's a $38,000 salary. And if you don't show up for 6 weeks for work with no call, there's been multiple attempts made. And the easiest way to respond, you can respond to a text message, and you don't have to come in and see someone face to face. You can zero response from the attorney until last night. I don't think.
No.
I don't.
Well, we responded on the 7th, right, by your deadline.
Yeah.
That was in his
Nothing,
email to him
nothing to
last
that,
night.
yeah, nothing until then.
Right. But there's been no reasoning, no explanation, no anything as to why
Right.
not here. And again, it's the, if you come back to work, you get paid. But if you're not coming to work, why would you get paid?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh,
She did go see the funeral director that you were speaking about personally and took care of that business for him, so he could get that death certificate released. So
We don't know that.
I know that through him and her. I called him just to be fair.
there have been people that have, like Marlisa was on vacation last
And we
week,
filled-
and
we got.
we had to do an emergency thing to fill it, yes, but it was that Monday before the selectmen meeting that there was none, and that's when he came in. There were people that were coming in seeking town records and all that, and they can't get in, and that's one of those offices that have to, and I'm not bringing, during the ice storm, the town of Salisbury opened an hour or two late that day, 2 hour delay. And there was a guy sitting there waiting, same thing from the funeral director waiting because had to go to a funeral or had to go to the crematory and was like flipping out that they weren't there on time that morning. So it's an essential function of the town to have that office open. Probably one of the most essential because all the records are there, the attorneys are in there all the time and all that, so again, nothing personal, but it's come to work, you get paid, and or have a good explanation of why, respond to an email, respond to a text message, respond to a phone call, come in person, something. It's the
Okay,
end of my
any more discussion? All in favor?
I
Aye. Is that a head nod?
Opposed.
Opposed? For the record, you're opposed.
Mhm.
Okay. Two in favor, one opposed?
Abstain.
You're abstaining?
okay.
Abstention. Okay, motion carries to suspend the salary effective immediately to be reinstated at a time when Jean comes back to fulfill her duties as an elected town clerk. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
In favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.